Robert, thank you. Let me say that today is one of my happiest days because we must always abide according to rules. Remember that as an opposition party, we should not condone impunity. We should follow due process and allow rule of law to prevail. You realize that before this convention, I did say that what the party then was doing will not help us because every step taken will be set aside. And of course, you know, one thing that happens to people when they empower your governor, believe that you can do anything. I thank God that the law has spoken. The PDP convention for us will have been an opportunity for all the groups to put themselves together and see how they can rebuild the party. And that was very important, but some people felt that for their personal interests, they go along and do whatever they wanted to do. Here, the Federal High Court, under Justice Omotosho and Justice Leahy, did say that, look, you cannot violate the laws, be it the Constitution, be it the Electoral Act, be it the annexed electoral guidelines, and your own Constitution, you must obey. It is not about leadership of the party. So many people do not understand. We are not talking about leadership. If you talk about leadership, you're not talking about internal affairs. But when you say that you have violated the Constitution, you are violating the Electoral Act, you are violating the annexed guidelines, and your own Constitution, it is no longer within the realms of the internal affairs of the party. The court must interfere. The court must come and look. This is the laws. Why would you violate the laws? And they refused. I went ahead to Ibadan State High Court and got an interim order, which would know that it cannot stand because this matter has to do with INEC. Those who want to go sued INEC, that they are obliged to obey, comply with statutory provisions, that you cannot attend this convention when the party has not complied with the provisions of the law. It's not about who is chairman, who is not chairman. That's when you talk about internal affairs of the party. But when you talk about, look, you have not complied with what the law says, it has nothing to do with internal affairs. People must distinguish that. I've had so many people on television, they come out to say, oh, that it's internal affairs of the party that the court has ruled. Internal affairs have to do with leadership. But in this case, I'm talking about compliance to the provisions of the Constitution, the Electoral Act, and even the other guideline and your own Constitution. Remember, before the FCT election, the Supreme Court, in the APC matter between Joshua and Shokolo, the court said, look, it is not everything that's within the realms of internal affairs. No, that compliance to the provisions of the law has taken it away from internal affairs of the party. And the Supreme Court said, look, this is not the type you say is internal affairs. It has gone beyond that. And that strengthens our case today. I see what the judgment of the court. For me, it's an opportunity for everybody again to come back and see how we can salvage the party. But you see, mind you, the primaries will start from April. Now, this is March. Leave your ego. Leave your personal interest. Come back. Let's sit down. Now we're here. Can we see how we can forge ahead? That's an opportunity. But if you say you don't, of course, lawyers will tell you, no, let's go to the Supreme Court. Mind you, the primaries will be from April to May. Now look at it. By the time you go to Supreme Court, you're merely doing harm, causing harm for your party, which you say you love. and which will not help us. For me, it's an opportunity. Let everybody come back. Let's sit down. So, well, you have tried, but the law has spoken. Let us stop this, please, and then see how the party will forge ahead. That's my own. I think that is an opportunity for PDP to look inwards to say, okay, we have fought. Now it's time to say, okay, enough is enough. Let's come back. Whatever we can do to put our hands together. Then we will, but if you continue with a fight, or let's go to Supreme Court at this, it is not going to go well for the party. If you're a lover of this party, you not encourage it. But if you say you want to go, we are always also ready. Because for me, it is development of the law. Today, most of us who are already talking about internal affairs, we don't even read what constitutes internal affairs of the party and what does not constitute internal affairs of the party. So many people have gone home to say anything that has to do with party is internal affairs. That's not correct. And that's what the position. Look at all the appeals. They are all dismissed with cost, heavy cost. If you calculate the 9 appeals, and there's no one that did not say you pay $2 million. If you add $2 million, if you time multiply $2 million to 9 appeals, that's about 18 million you must pay. So it's an opportunity for us. For me, we have done what we're supposed to do, and it's a stand now to say, okay, we have fought. Let us drop our personal interests and make sure that PDP becomes like the opposition party. And that's the only way Nigeria can move. The only opposition to I think we have is PDP. And the only party is APC. No other party are considered to be opposition. But in fact, you are really stand as a political party. Does not necessarily make it to be opposition. We don't have any seat anywhere. It doesn't make any sense. So that's my position.
Your Excellency, sir,
no, it is very... Yeah, okay.
What is going to happen with the National Convention that has been legislated?
Okay.
Is this going to go on?
Of course. In fact, let me tell you, the National the Caretaker Committee has gotten approval to use the velodrome for the National Convention for 29th to 30th of March. When you say what will happen, it is very clear that there was no convention, and the tenure of the officer they had expired. You cannot allow a vacuum. Having expired, then the party had to form a caretaker committee, which they have done. And you are aware that the Federal High Court in Ibadan said, look, we cannot validate this illegal convention. And since the party cannot allow a vacuum, they have appointed people to run the affairs of the party, pending when they hold their national convention. And from what the Court of Appeal said today, it is clear that convention does not stand. So the caretaker committee is what it is now, and they are going to hold the convention slated for 29th to 30th of March, when the national officer of the party will be elected. There are no two ways about it. In fact, you remember that the same people filed an appeal in Ibadan against the judgment of the Federal High Court, who said, we cannot validate you. The Federal High Court has said, don't hold the convention. And you are coming here to tell me to, the same Federal High Court, to validate what the Federal High Court has said, do not carry on. I said, look, because these people were also parties to this, so they were joined. It is not, a counter affidavit as to what it said. So the National Caretaker Committee is recognized to run the party affairs pending the National Convention. Another convention is on 29th and 30th. We have secured the approval of for the National Sports Commission to use the velodrome. Remember, we have used the Eagle Square, but because APC is having their National Convention, 28 and 29, it will be difficult for PDP to clear or to keep the place ready against that 29. So they have to choose an alternative venue, which is the velodrome near the national stadium. So they're already preparing for that convention, and it will hold by the grace of God.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Thank you.
Off camera, we understand that congratulations are in order. Of course, today we heard that the court stopping the 2025 National Convention held